Hello, everyone. Welcome to our annual Red Kettle Luncheon. I'm so grateful that you're here to share in the stories of the life-saving work we continue to do together at the Salvation Army. Every story of a life restored, a hope renewed, a faith discovered is because of you and your support. I'm Lieutenant Colonel Cindy Foley, the Divisional Commander of the Salvation Army in King County, as well as across the states of Washington, Montana, and Idaho. Since assuming my role in the Northwest late last summer, I've been struck by the catastrophic issues that we continue to see in King County. There's been unprecedented growth in the number of people experiencing homelessness in King County, with over 45,000 lost souls in need of shelter and permanent housing. Over 85,000 people were served by the Salvation Army in King County in 2021 with shelter, meals, rental assistance, youth services, rehabilitation programming, domestic violence prevention, permanent housing, and so much more. We have the experience, the dedication, the faith, and with your commitment, the resources necessary to transform lives for the better. Our focus and message this year is about love beyond. We know that homelessness, hunger, loss, and despair continue to devastate the lives of those in need as we try to move past the anguish of pandemic years. Recently, I met with a class of fourth graders because they wanted to donate money they raised themselves for children in Ukraine. When I told the kids about how we help people living in their cars find permanent housing, one little girl stood up and told the entire gym that her mother, a teacher, knew and worked with children who were living in their cars. She looked at me right in the eye and said, "Can you please help them?" I have since connected that teacher with one of our shelters, and they're beginning case management to help these families find housing. We were able to respond and love beyond because of your unconditional support. Because of you, children learn the unforgettable lesson that the Salvation Army will be there and that we will love beyond people in their suffering. Despite the unprecedented need, we have faith that with your support and the dedication of the Salvation Army staff and officers, we will achieve miracles again. COVID has gone beyond what we could have imagined, and so our goals must go beyond what we thought we would have to provide. Our fundraising goal is $450,000 or more, and this year we invite you to give beyond so that we, the Salvation Army, can love beyond. Every dollar you contribute will go directly to serve those in need in King County, and together you will hear about some of the lives you have already transformed forever because of your significant support. You will also be able to connect personally with those we serve by sharing a note of encouragement when you give. Thank you for helping the Salvation Army to love beyond.
My friends, I am Dr. Rolanda Cawthon, King County Advisory Board member and Dean of the College of Business at Northwest University. I am proud to be a part of the Salvation Army that serves so faithfully in King County. Today is a beautiful day for most of us, full of promise, freedom to choose our path forward, and the knowledge that we have a home, a future, and love everlasting. Many of us have been blessed with abundance and hope. We ask that you remember where you come from, remember the people who helped you get to this place, and that you remember the words of John 15:12, to above all, love others as God has loved you. Let us pray. Almighty Spirit, we stand before you today, humbled with the gift of our lives and the task of changing the world every day to be a better, loving, generous place, so that all of us have equal access to a safe home, a healthy mind, a body free from the agony of addiction, food for their families, and a belief in an Almighty that watches over us. We have the means and the ability to raise $450,000 today to serve others as Jesus asks us to do. And we pray that we can create a sacred space today to reach our goal and make miracles happen. Amen.
Hi everyone, I'm Dan Eds, Chair of the King County Advisory Board for the Salvation Army Northwest, or as we like to say, KCAB. I believe I speak for everyone on the board when I say what a privilege it is to be part of the effort to love beyond in King County. I want to thank every member of the King County Advisory Board for their humble commitment to the Salvation Army and their help today to meet our fundraising goal benefiting people in need. I also want to thank members of the KCAB Fundraising Events Committee. Today's event and demonstrating love beyond to our communities is largely dependent on their dedication to our mission. Committee Chair Jeff Snell and members Aaron Cahoon, Paula Lamas, Joe Gong, Scott Phillips, Mike Poth, and Matt Rodriguez. To all of you watching, your support means lives are saved. When you help Love Beyond by giving toward our $450,000 goal, you'll be directly responsible for finding homes for families with small children living in their cars, ending addiction for those held captive by drugs and abuse, and opening one of the most beautiful settings in the Pacific Northwest for children to learn about God's love at camp.
Love doesn't discriminate. It doesn't pick and choose. When there's so much to fight against, love fights for. When others flee, love runs toward. And when darkness prevails, love doesn't despair. It never feels too small or too weak or too powerless to help. Love knows its worth and remembers its strength. Love isn't pro this or pro that, but proactive and protective. It's never quick to rage, but always quick to courageous compassion. Love gives everything and expects nothing. For 156 years, the Salvation Army has loved all who feel lost. With your help, we'll never stop.
I had a job for 25 years, and as a shop supervisor, I lost that job. Things started going downhill there, I guess, because I just bought a house probably about 3 months before I lost my job.
It was the very first house I've ever owned, so it was wonderful for us in the beginning.
It's just like everything just spiraled down from there. Within 1 year of time, I just couldn't believe where we were at. I mean, our house had caught fire, and then there's downfalls with the insurance companies that I had. And
so we only had my paycheck, my Social Security check. That didn't pay the rent, so we had some bad times. So long story short, we ended up living on the place with a camper.
We got through it. We got through it before somebody else had bought the property because it closed. They foreclosed on us, and eventually they really felt they hit rock bottom when we had to move out of there. That off from the camper. At least I still felt like I had a home at that time. But then came the living in the truck for 3 years.
people don't realize it, but you're only one paycheck away from losing everything.
It's not a choice all the time.
It's not a choice. I mean, it's very hard to realize it, but only one paycheck and everything's gone that quick.
It may be a choice to a certain point, but after you reach a certain low, it is so hard to crawl back out of it. I think there's some other people that's never been through it before they automatically just profile you as basically, make a long story short, dirt. And of course you can't help it, but you kind of feel like it, I guess, in a way. But it's like, why are you even accusing me of this? This ain't me. Just because I'm standing here by it, that's not me. There is a lot of people out there that actually show effort to pick up and not to dirty Mother Earth.
Yes, that's true.
I mean, we were definitely one of them, but I was also smart enough not to go camp at a spot that was
dirty,
completely filthy either. We tried to stay as clean as we could. It was really hard, but I did anything I could to make it comfortable with it for us.
We did.
We're still able to have both of our clothes and keep it clean and pack them up and put it away so we could sleep there.
Now that I've been homeless and I know what it's like, especially for so long, I have more hope for people than I did before.
I know I have a whole different outlook than where I went through it.
Yeah.
I didn't think it ever happened to me.
We met a couple of nice people, but the one person I did want to meet was Tina Lewis. She saved my life.
Biggest thing that we liked about her was the fact that you could tell she was a really determined lady, and she always meant well, and she was good for her word. My first day, I actually got a roof over my head finally. I struggled with for so long. God bless you, Tina. I think I got so much adrenaline in me, I didn't want anybody to help me move. It's like, get out of my way, I will do it. And I did. I did it all myself.
I had my cat and wooden floors and a couple down blankets, and I was in heaven. I can't believe I have a bathroom. It was so awesome.
And Salvation Army, the works that these guys have been doing is just phenomenal.
I can't tell you enough. It saved my life. Sorry. It saved my life. And it will save other people's lives.
I feel that someday we'll get our chance to where we can pitch in and do the same too.
I agree.
Wow, our clients inspire me like this every day. Hi everyone, I'm Simon Foster, Director of Operations for Seattle Social Services. I want each of you to know today that I am witnessing and experiencing firsthand the transformative power of your love and support in the face of homelessness throughout King County. Every day, we lose a soul because they couldn't access a safe, warm place to recover. Every day, we lose a soul who has been a prisoner of their trauma. And every day, we lose a soul to despair because of a life spent too long on the streets. But with your help and love, beyond every obstacle, the Salvation Army has revolutionized permanent housing options this year with a major expansion of our street level program. This program finds homeless people and families who in many cases have been living in their cars during the entirety of the pandemic. In its first 3 years of operations, we found permanent housing for over 400 people, 97% who are still in their homes. This year, King County contracted with us to find permanent homes for 90 people in just 1 year. In our first month, we found permanent housing for over 50 people in just 1 month. Your donations, your heart, your love is making the most significant impact on homelessness in King County than any other agency program available. Last year, we provided over 225,000 nights of shelter to our homeless neighbors throughout King County. We also helped almost 1,000 people stay in their own homes via our rental assistance programs. Miracles are happening because of your commitment to us. Thank you for loving beyond the street.
Thank you, Simon. What a remarkable and heroic person, as are all of the passionate Salvation Army staff members who are on the front lines in our war to end homelessness. Please join me in applauding these everyday heroes whose acts are made possible through our financial commitment. Hello, folks. My name is Ted Buck. I'm an advisory board member for King County Salvation Army and a devotee of the men and women of the Army, folks that I call saints. Our country's, our society's one overriding, intractable, brutal challenge is homelessness and its impact on our communities. And despite the astonishing impact that donors like us are making on thousands of lives in this county, thousands more are on the streets. Some lost their job and then their home, including families. Some are addicted, some are mentally ill. They're unable alone to escape the downward spiral of poverty, the loss of self-respect that comes with it. But permanent housing is available, ladies and gentlemen. We know that that's essential to getting them back up on their feet, and the Salvation Army can help them do that with wraparound support measures so it's successful when they are put into that permanent housing. But our generosity in giving to the Army today is essential to making sure that that happens. Think about, for a moment, the encampments that you've seen, the tents on the sidewalks and our schoolyards and our parks. Think of the lost souls you've seen lying on the ground, and you walk by wondering, has someone passed this life with no one paying attention? Consider your friends, your neighbors, your church members, people you know who have lost loved ones or are losing them to the streets. Well, folks, every dollar that you give today will go directly, and I mean directly, to save these thousands of lost souls. This saving grace is embodied in our goal of $450,000 this year. We have it in our power to make this a reality. Let's face it, folks, through our hard work, through support of our communities, through education, we have so much, and we can share so much of this grace with our homeless neighbors. We respectfully ask everyone here today, listening to us, to give at least $200. But let me tell you where you can really make an impact. A tenaciously generous group of committed supporters have established our Red Kettle Challenge Pool of matching funds. The pool will match every gift of $300 and more. That's right, double the impact that you can make today with a gift of $300 or more. But please join us in giving anything that you can. Folks, we, the supporters of the Army, are the miracle of hope that allows it to do its work day in and day out, saving lives. With your help and that of our generous sponsors, we will reach and exceed our goal. You can give at www.rkl2022.org. That's www.rkl2022.org by midnight today to make our goal. Let's make it happen, folks. Every dollar impacts a precious human life. We thank you for sustaining our community, maybe for giving more than you have ever given before, to love beyond homelessness. Thank you.
The ability of the Salvation Army to achieve miracles for our most vulnerable neighbors requires our capacity to love beyond. And one of the families that has demonstrated this profound love for our fellow human beings is the Langley family. Hi, I'm Phyllis Campbell, Chairman of the Pacific Northwest at J.P. Morgan Chase, longtime supporter of the Salvation Army, and a friend of Art Langley and his family. It's been such a privilege to see the profound impact that the Langley's philanthropic history has brought to the Salvation Army. Truly, the Salvation Army and supporters like the Langleys are changing the landscape of homelessness in King County, and as the need dramatically increases every day, their contributions mean more and more lives are saved on a daily basis. The Langleys set the standard and the example for all of us who truly want to make a difference. Congratulations to Art and his family for 100 years of support for the Salvation Army.
Hi friends, this year marks the 100th anniversary of there being a Langley family member involved in the Salvation Army. Today we're going to talk about some of those memories with my mother, who's here today, and my sister Emily, who's also been involved with the Salvation Army over those years.
Well, Mom, when Arthur B. Langley first moved to Seattle as a young lawyer, he was in a group of other young people, and one of their projects was to do things that were needed in the community, and that's when he was first introduced to the Salvation Army. So this was in the 20s? 1929, 1930. He went on from being a city councilman to mayor and then to governor. All along the way, he had made close friends with the Army and really admired their programs and what they did for people. What your father kept saying too about
Salvation Army could make a nickel scream.
Right.
And so it was important to give to the Army because you knew that your donation would go to the child that couldn't otherwise go to camp, or the domestic violence survivor that needed a safe place to stay, or someone who was just down on their luck and needed a warm meal and a chance to start their life over again.
So I think in a lot of ways, we've all grown up in the Salvation Army. Some of my earliest memories of Christmas were spending time with my dad and bell ringing. Dad and I spent a lot of nights at the old Nordstrom doing that, and the thing about Seattle in those days was you knew most of the people that came by to drop money in the Kettle.
And the Toy and Joy Shop was such a big part of Christmas.
One year when I was working there up on Capitol Hill in an old wood frame building that smelled of diesel, somebody had broken in overnight and stolen the bikes that were to go home with kids the next day. And so I headed home to get 2 bikes that I had that I could donate back to the cause so that they would go home to families in Seattle. I had so many parents coming through there trying to find just the right thing. And it was a labor of love to try and pick out just exactly what I thought a 7-year-old boy would want. Yeah, I think when people ask me the most important things, Emily had referenced before that making a nickel scream is something that I always say about the Salvation Army, because fiscally more money gets to the people that need it than any other organization that I've ever found. And particularly in our issues in Seattle these days, I know the metrics of how the Army spends that money and the lives that they are able to change. The other thing that I really appreciate about the Salvation Army is they are helping everyone without discrimination. I often say that if the devil himself came to the door, the Salvation Army would be there to help him if he asked for it. And I think that there are few organizations that have that kind of approach to the world.
When my father passed away, the Salvation Army created the Arthur S. Langley Award for Visionary Leadership. And this year, with that award, we're doing something very special.
Yeah, this year I've decided that we're going to raise $100,000 to go toward the street level program, which is working with our unhoused community in finding ways to retrajectory their lives into a better place. This year's also special because I'm pleased to announce this year's recipient of the Arthur S. Langley Award for Visionary Leadership. This year, it's my privilege to give the Arthur S. Langley Award for Visionary Leadership to June and George Bartell. My grandfather and George's grandfather likely worked together in the Salvation Army in those early days. George, June, congratulations.
Thank you, Art. June and I are humbled and honored to receive the Arthur S. Langley Award. I have served on the local Salvation Army board with both Art and his dad, and that's just one indication of the depth of support that the Langley family has given to the Salvation Army for now 100 years. It is a privilege that the Bartell name will be linked with the Langley name in continuing to support the mission of the Salvation Army, feeding the hungry, helping those who need shelter find it, assisting victims of domestic abuse, and helping those who are suffering from the scourge of addiction. So on behalf of the Bartell family, thank you.
Hi, I'm Jeff Snell, the chair of the Fundraising Events Committee for the King County Advisory Board. It's my honor to share that we have had an unprecedented show of support from major sponsors and matching gift donors this year. Please join me in thanking our sponsors: Aerospace Machinists District 751, Genesee Energy, Holmes Electric, Home Street Bank, Como TV, Northwest Radio, KVI, and Star 101.5 Radio, Oak Harbor Freight Lines, Pape Material Handling, Providence, Puget Sound Energy, RKD Group LLC, Tatley Grund, University Mechanical Contractors Incorporated, and Windermere. Our faithful sponsors, matching gift donors, and you are going to help us meet our financial goal and dramatically increase our level of service to the most vulnerable in King County. We can't meet our goal of $450,000 without you and many other sponsors and contributors. I would like to invite Major Jonathan Harvey to share just how the Army's services have grown in response to homelessness, addiction, and loss in the aftermath of the pandemic.
Hi, I'm Major Jonathan Harvey, and I have the privilege of serving as the General Secretary of the Salvation Army's Northwest Division and Coordinator of Salvation Army programming throughout King County. The challenges facing our community are complex. They continue to demand a multifaceted approach with engagement from all sectors of the community. We're grateful to our private supporters, corporate friends, government partners, and the community at large for believing in us as we strive to be a part of the solution. The words hardly seem adequate, but thank you. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, we share a message of hope by meeting the physical, spiritual, and emotional needs of anyone who walks through our doors. The Salvation Army in King County is made up of 5 community centers where we offer a wide variety of social service programs, such as food banks, emergency financial assistance, addiction recovery, character building activities for children, pastoral care, and so much more. Just a few examples of our impactful programming include our backpack program in Renton, where we provide food to underserved children, especially on the weekends when many children are left home alone. This program recently expanded to now include 10 schools. Our scholarship-based summer day camp in the Crossroads neighborhood provides a safe and engaging environment for youth. Our senior programming in White Center includes nutritious meals and fun activities, and I have to tell you, the bi-weekly band and dancing, along with the bingo, are very popular. In addition, 10 facilities provide enhanced and transitional shelter options, as well as permanent housing for seniors. Hundreds of beds made available each and every night in King County, all provided by the Salvation Army in partnership with our city and county government partners. With your help, we are able to offer life-transforming programs to anyone who is ready for a better life and simply needs some guidance, some support, and love along the way. Again, thank you for making that possible. We are acutely aware that there is a need for more permanent supportive housing and mental health services. The need is greater than ever, and this is going to be our focus in the months and the years ahead. The Salvation Army will continue to adjust to the ever-changing needs of our community, and we remain committed to addressing our current homeless crisis in every way possible. When we work hand in hand with our government partners and people just like you, who invest in the provision of hope and the restoration of an individual's dignity, the love we can share reaches beyond the bounds of need. Lives are then deeply impacted for the good. I share God's blessing with you today. Thank you for being with us, and thank you again for your support.
I'm Tracy. I'm an addict alcoholic. My sobriety date is July 13th, 2016, and for someone like me, that's a miracle. You know, during my childhood, I got involved in athletics. I competed strongly in softball, volleyball, and basketball. Through high school, had a great group of friends, got to do the homecoming corps, got to excel academically, and I didn't experiment too heavily for what I thought. I was smoking pot and drinking alcohol at parties with my friends and smoking cigarettes, and nothing that got too out of hand. It wasn't controlling my life. I graduated from high school. I moved in with some friends and went to Edmonds Community College. I decided that I am too good of an athlete to be at a community college. I must go on to a D1 school. But I was lacking the grades at that time, and so I just decided to say, forget it. I'm just gonna go experiment more with boys and drugs and alcohol. And well, I got into some heavier substances, cocaine on the weekends. Nothing at that time that I thought was too heavy. I met a man. We ended up having a very serious relationship. I got pregnant with my son, Noah. And at that time, we were not in a daily addiction. And we were gonna have this baby and everything was gonna be fine and we were gonna live happily ever after. And the age of 23 to 27, I was good. I was raising my son. Things were going great. I was in school. And then at 27, I found out my husband was cheating on me with my best friend from second grade. And also at that time, I had just told my family that I had been sexually abused by my stepfather. He admitted to everything and my mom continued to stay with him. Everything that my stepdad told me had come true. He told me, if you ever tell anybody about this, you're gonna lose this, this, and this. This is what's gonna happen and your world is gonna fall apart, and that was what was happening. So what I knew to do, and what had worked before when I was in pain, is I had turned to drugs or alcohol. My addiction picked up really, really quickly. It started with pain pills and quickly moved into meth and heroin. My meth and heroin addiction took me into crime. It took me to lying, cheating, and stealing even more, which is a behavior that I learned when I was very young from the abuse. It took a turn where I started burglarizing homes. I started stealing from any store that I possibly could steal from. I would drive my son to school, go kick in doors, burglarize homes, and then come pick my son up from school and act like nothing had happened. All the while smoking heroin and meth in my car before I picked my son up from school. I continued on going about my way of, I wasn't working, I was burglarizing homes, and I was doing that until I got caught. I have been in and out of jail more times than you can even imagine. I didn't know if I was ever gonna see my son again, and I was ready to surrender my life at that point and be, this is what my life has come to, and this is what I deserve. When I got to the Salvation Army, I was still completely broken. I was filled with guilt and shame. I was filled with, oh my gosh, my son is never gonna forgive me for going away this long this time. Salvation Army was a 6-month program. I had gone away 6 months before, and I was incarcerated. In going into the Salvation Army, it was a rude awakening at first for someone like myself who tried to look like I had it all together, and if I looked okay here, you wouldn't know what was going on the inside and wouldn't know how broken I was. Well, when you get to the Salvation Army, you get to shop in the store for the clothes that they want you to wear. They take your makeup away from you. I'm like, people are gonna know who I really am. They're gonna see who I really am, and they're gonna think I'm really ugly. At the Salvation Army, they have chapel service, and I recall at that time, Major Yant in this specific chapel service saying, if you're ready to turn your life over to God, come up to the altar. Just come up to the altar. What do you have to lose? And that evening I chose to go up to the altar. And he said, after you go up to the altar, just tell one person about it. And I went up to the altar and I prayed, and afterwards I was so proud to tell Major Yant, I just turned my life over to God. And he's like, watch your life change. And he was so right. Like everything I have today, I feel like I owe to the Salvation Army and the experience that I had there. For someone who couldn't even get out of bed without smoking heroin off a foil, to being incarcerated, to robbing houses, to being a horrible human being. Today, what my life looks like is I have a son who loves me so much. I have a son who I've gotten to show that you can fall and you can get back up. I have a son that could have gone one of two ways. And I feel like because he saw his parents pick themselves up, he chose the right way. When I was struggling in the program, the house managers, "Oh, you'll get through it, Tracy." You know, I broke some rules, a lot of rules, and they still didn't give up on me. And they helped shape me into the woman that I am today, and the mom that I get to be today, and the employee that I get to be today. So this is a story of hope, and this is a miraculous story. And we couldn't have done it without the Salvation Army. I don't know what else to say.
Tracy's is the kind of success story that you are making possible in every way today for hundreds of people just like her. Hi everyone, I am Captain John Kelly, along with my wife, Captain Kyna Kelly, and a dedicated team of staff and volunteers. I oversee the operations and the healing journeys of hundreds who recover in the Salvation Army's drug and alcohol addiction recovery program. We fondly refer to it as the ARP. Now, this is some of the most rewarding work we get to do with the Salvation Army, and because of you, this program has one of the highest national success rates in addiction recovery. In fact, 100% of the ARP participants are homeless when they enter our program. 38% of that group are sober, they are housed, and they have jobs even 1 year after completing the program. This compares to the national average of just 10 to 11% of individuals who maintain their sobriety 1 year after completing a rehab program. Now, these numbers are staggering, but please know that together we are making a lifelong difference here. Last year alone, we served almost 400 people in the ARP program. And it's unbelievable, isn't it? But that's what your financial support allows us to do in the Army. Every dollar you contribute, the closer we get to $450,000, has a direct correlation to the hundreds of people we are getting off the streets that are held captive by drugs and alcohol. We're going to make an even bigger impact next year, and we will free hundreds more from addiction because of your contributions.
Hi everyone, I'm Amy Coombs and I serve on the Addiction Recovery Program Committee. Thank you so much for being present with us today and for sharing in our commitment to love beyond addiction and recovery. As you heard from Captain John Kelly, drug and alcohol addiction has reached catastrophic proportions in King County, and so many have given up hope that we can make a real difference. But I'm here today to tell you that you are making that difference. With every life we help get off the street and into recovery, there are hundreds more that will be helped when those recovering souls pay it forward and spread the healing love of God that surpasses all understanding to others. Just think of it. When you help us reach our goal today of $450,000, the Salvation Army will be able to help hundreds of people recover from the terrifying hold that drugs have on their soul. $450,000 means that hundreds of people will learn that they are not alone, that God is with them, and that they can recover and that they too can have a life again. $450,000 means that hundreds of traumatized people like Tracy can become productive, radiant souls again. They can spend the remainder of their days changing the world for the better and showing the world that God loves them beyond all measure. We respectfully ask that each person please consider a gift of $200 or more to help change lives of those in need in King County. It's especially important that you give today because of the generous matching gift available. That means your gift could have double the impact. Every gift of $300 or more will be matched by an amazingly generous group of donors who have established our Red Kettle Challenge pool of matching funds. Yes, double your impact today with a gift of $300 or more. Please join me and give all that you can because we know that giving is loving beyond in action. you can make a donation at www.rkl2022.org. All gifts contributed by midnight tonight will help us toward our $450,000 goal. Once again, please give at www.rkl2022.org by the end of the day. On behalf of me, my family, my fellow board members, I send each of you my sincerest gratitude for helping serve those in need in our community.
Thank you, Amy. I know you share my sense of wonder at what the Salvation Army is doing to save lives and change the lives of thousands of people in King County. Recently, I was at one of our many shelters, and I had a life-changing conversation with one of our staff whose life has been profoundly changed by his relationship with the Salvation Army. Robert's road has not been easy, and that's putting it mildly. He's faced more adversity and pain in his life than most of us could ever comprehend, from time in prison to the abduction of his precious daughter. Yet Robert today is a beacon of love, light, and hope. He told me that his mission today, which brings him joy and so much gratitude, is to lift up others. The Salvation Army lifted Robert and gave him hope, and now he's sharing that hope with others in our community. What a blessing to meet Robert. I walked away that day with a revelation that giving back to others changes our lives for the better in so many ways. By supporting the Salvation Army, we get the blessed opportunity to help channel the divine directive to make a life-changing difference for those in need. Please give all you can today and join me in a closing prayer. Divine and Holy Spirit, we thank you for this time together today as we join together to make a difference. Help us see that giving is the ultimate way to share your love beyond all measure. Amen. Thank you everyone for joining us today, and we hope you have a wonderful rest of the day.